Who needs breaks?
So yeah, we need to go ahead and invite those players into the first map, which will be Metalopolis. Do you actually have those players on your friends list currently?
I'm sure that we may have at least one or two of them here. We'll get that sorted. So again, just a recap of some of the winter bracket matches that we have seen thus far. Of course, Rhett taking out LZ Gamer, dropping him to the lower bracket. That was a 2-0, and then of course Liquid Tyler going 2-1 against EG Axlab. Did drop a match, but was still able to come back with a very convincing win. So I do see QXC on here. I'll just need to get Sock, I believe, and then we'll be good to go. But it looks like the players are ready, so we'll get Sock added here hopefully.
Sen,
I'm sorry, Sen.
The other S player, yes.
Right.
So QXC, go ahead. Let's go ahead and ask him in the lobby if he can tell the Taiwanese player Sen to invite him to the game. As I'm not sure if he's on either of our friends lists.
Okay,
and,
that's.
English obviously isn't his first language, being from Taiwan, so this might be a little bit difficult, but we will go ahead and get them into this game and get you guys started here. QXC against Sin. Now, TVZ, that's pretty much the #1 matchup that we've seen casted here, simply because the amount of Zergs and the amount of Terrans. Terrans not really a big surprise, but Zergs have really shot up in the tournament, seen so many different Zerg users being shown here in MLG Dallas. We've got players like Idra. I mean, you can't really talk about Zerg without mentioning him. You've got Sin. You've got Cats from Root Gaming. Just so many different Zerg players here. And Sin almost, I would say, would be at the top of that. He's one of the greatest Zerg players and also one of the best StarCraft 1 foreigners. So this is going to be the first time that people on the western side of the world have really seen him play other than replays. So this should be some exciting stuff.
Yeah, and of course, Fnatic, long-time esports organization that's been around in several different games, of course, making the switch over to StarCraft 2 like many of the top teams, and Fnatic, one of the international teams that is represented right here. And we do have QXC in the matchup. Of course, QXC is going to help us get sent in here, and we'll get this game started the moment that we have both players into the matchup. So very excited as the winter bracket action continues. We'll try to bring you some of the results from the lower bracket as well as the tournament continues to progress. This is day 2 of the MLG Dallas 2010 National Championships. We've had 2 events leading up to this one, and the third and actually last one of 2010, not only a bigger prize pool, also more players, better talent all throughout the competition. So it is going to be, it's going to get so hard, JP, to choose the matches because it's like you want to see every single one.
Yeah, we've kind of caught a break with winners round 3 here. There's a ton of matches that we wanted to bring you guys, and we're going to try to bring you every single great match. But as the tournament progresses on and the admins do have to run the tournament on time, it's going to be hard, like you said, to go ahead and choose those matches. Looks like QXC has suggested Sin playing on the account of Softball, a player from Taiwan. It looks like this was the account that he might have used for BlizzCon, so that's why Sin will be playing under that ID.
All right, well, we'll ask if the players are ready, and once they are, we'll be hopping into another winter bracket matchup. I believe this is still round 3, so if you consider that that's fairly early in this competition, we still have a lot of amazing matchups to see here. It's still pretty early in the day, and we're going to be going all day long. Both players are ready to go. We're going to start this game and get it going here on Metalopolis, map 1 of QXC from Team Root versus Sen from Fnatic. Definitely 2 powerhouse players that people are very interested in following. QXC, I've heard from people who have been watching him over his shoulder playing that he really is in good form right now in this competition. Of course, Sen, a Zerg that certainly has a lot to prove, a lot of talent under his belt. It's going to be very interesting to see how this matchup ends up.
And here we go, QXC spawning as the higher seed, but it looks like he chose purple instead of blue. But QXC spawning as the Terran player here at the 12 o'clock, and Sen playing as the lower seeded player here. He should be red, but he's going to be or he should be blue, but he's going to be red in this game, spawning as the red Zerg at the 9 o'clock position.
Yeah, just some strange color combinations there, but you know, QXC was in a purple mood, so he just decided he was just going to go with purple, and it's understandable. So now, one thing I want to mention is that QXC actually has a pretty good versus Zerg, as we saw him take some games from Idra in the last MLG competition. So certainly capable here, knows this matchup well. Again, really refining his own strategy, and also over the last few MLG events, some of the other competitions he's played in, he's been able to shed some of that early tournament sort of jitters, fears, nervousness, whatever, and we're really starting to see that QXC that we want to see on a consistent basis.
And here's QXC sending this SCV out to the outlying boundaries of his base to go ahead and see if there's any overlords coming from that 3 o'clock position, but there is not going to be, so he does not, or he does know that his opponent is not there. Sending out this SCV to scout, does see this drone as it looks like it was on attack move as it was chasing that SCV, but Sin quickly rectified that, and now he's going to be going into this base, doing a little bit of harassment onto this SCV. Now, going back to QXC as a player, here at MLG he's done pretty well for himself, but a lot of people don't really put him in the spotlight too much. So he's got really a lot to prove in this tournament. As like I said, he's done well in MLG events, but never really right at the top tier almost.
Right. I mean, I think that he's had almost more success in a lot of the online competitions. You know, during the beta and whatnot, people were looking at QXC and they are really paying a lot of attention to him. Now he's definitely come and played some miraculous and great matches at MLG. But with every single player that comes in that's new, that starts to get on the tournament circuit, regardless of whether they were involved or not in Brood War, does have to, reestablish that comfort level that they want to have at a tournament. We do see the hatchery going down here, and pretty much what we would expect here from the Zerg Sen.
Yeah, it looks like that hatch is going down here, but right after the pool. Now, as a Zerg player, what does this really signify to you? I'm going to put you on the spot right now.
Yeah, so I mean, you get that pool down early. It means that first I feel safe. I want to get my economy up. Of course, if you get your queens out, depending on if he goes single queen, double queen, you have more larvae to work with that can allow you to get more units. But it also is this like scary time for the Zerg, because you don't really want to waste all your larvae to make a bunch of units. On the other hand, QXC wants to pressure to try to make you build units. So it's all about how little can I make and how many like drones can I get ahead on. And we are going to see a Roach Warren come down, gas at the same time by Sen. So he's already got somewhat of a plan. He's moving this first queen down. I assume that he's going to have a second one going in the main, and he does. So he will be having 2 queens here, and perfect timing just as that hatchery hits. We do have Zerglings poking in their heads in the front door, and actually QXC not going to be okay just taking out one. He will drop that depot and push out just a little bit, but again, just trying to scare the Zerg a little bit. It doesn't force him into making any units, but it will force him away from his base.
Now it looks like QXC is going to be opening up Hellions here, putting that reactor onto that Reax, and then taking his first expansion very, very quickly, putting on pressure and expanding. This is really what players like to be doing and what they should be doing. Now going back over here into Sin's base, he does have that ID of softball, though. He's actually going roaches right now, not producing any drones, just making a lot of roaches. He's almost supply capped their roaches, take so much supply, and also going to be spreading those creep tumors to go ahead and connect his main to his natural.
Yeah, one thing that I saw Sun do, which I really like as a Zerg player, you know, the creep being such an important aspect of your game. When that second queen pop from the main, instead of injecting right away, he drops that creep tumor to get it going. Eventually, you'll probably see him bust out some additional queens so that he can continue that spread over there. But we do have some roaches moving out. I didn't even see these Hellions being made here, as we probably need to pay a little bit of attention to what QXC is doing over here. Obviously has those Hellions out, Starport going down, already got his CC, getting ready to go, and then tanks coming out as well. So these two roaches, actually the depot's down, but he would probably get chewed alive by those Marines, so he's got to be careful.
Yeah, it looks like QXC is going to try to sneak behind the mineral line here, but there's a queen and 1 roach to go ahead and fend off these. Looks like nice drone control there from Sid, not allowing them to take any hits, but good control from QXC, allowing that 1 Hellion with 8 HP to stay alive. And these 2 roaches might try to catch these Hellions off guard, but they're trying to go over here to the ramp, and no, those Hellions, oh, here they come. Oh. Is he going to be able to snipe that one? Oh, they're both so low is a combined HP of about 10 right there. And here come the Marines and tank moving out. Looks like one of those roaches is going to go down. The last one is going to go home and tell the story.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in the game, just taking out one of those roaches, I think, is a big advantage for QXC. You see, speed is about ready to finish here for the Zerg player Sen. Also, a lot of lings coming out, 24 lings right now, and QXC may choose to push. Now, having those speedlings getting in there and a nice surround on that army, in addition to the roaches, I'm not really sure how many roaches he has on the field. Only 2, so there's not a whole lot of roach power behind that, but he does have a lot of lings with speed. We'll see what he does with those.
QXC got to try to throw on some more pressure to his opponent here, getting this Banshee out, but Sin should be ready as this Overlord was able to sneak in the back and sneak right back out as those Marines are at the front of the base. There is a lone ling, though, not going to go ahead and return to base, though, as the Marines and tank have taken it out, and QXC might be pushing forward here, as I believe that Banshee has finished. No cloak started yet. He might just be taking out these creep tumors, but there is a ton of lings over here with speed from QXC right now.
Yeah, and he was hiding his army very well. Roaches are going to take the initial damage, but I think he might surprise him with the amount of Zergling that he got. Great surround coming out here. Roaches from all sides, and he will actually demolish this army of QXC, and that is the beauty of denying your opponent information. There was if you saw, an SCV went down first, and then a scan, and now we might have a very solid counterattack coming out by Sen here. But by hiding that army, Banshee coming out for QXC here. He's going to be forced to attack. Barracks will be going down, trying to get the repair on that, but it won't be enough. He's got to just ignore the Banshee at this point in time, and I would guess that more Queens will be coming out. We see a Bailey Nest too, and wow.
Yeah.
Sen with a great quick game there. Played it very, very smart. He hid all those speedlings over to the side. The scan just barely missed it. He decided then at that point it's time to push forward, and unfortunately for QXC, not knowing everything that the Zerg had ultimately led to his demise there in Game 1 on Metalopolis.
Yeah, that surround really hurt him, and also QXC didn't put those 2 depots back up at his ramp, so the lings were able to run in there, start killing some SCVs, and there's really nothing that he could do as he had pressure at his front base, pressure at his back base, and really no units to defend against that. So we are going to be waiting on QXC to give us the next map, but that was a quick game between those 2 huge titans right now of StarCraft 2.
It was a quick game, and now we are going to just be waiting a little bit longer. I've asked QXC for the map, and he said, you know, we actually didn't do the vetoes beforehand. Now, the first map is predetermined, so it's not like that was necessarily a mistake, but we can't really have the map selection until we find out what both players decide to veto from the pool here. So we're going to find out in just a second. I think QXC just waiting. So we do have an admin over there. Hopefully they can get the veto done, and then we'll find out. There's an admin right there. I'm going to veto these maps, and we will decide. So QXC with a good push. If he thought his opponent didn't have much of an army, but those the speed and then the amount of lings that came out at the same time, just really solid timing there by Sen. It allowed him to not only hide what he had there, but again, he was basically, with the exception of those early roaches that came out, he was making drones up into that point. Had a great economy, had plenty of larvae to work with as well, and well, you saw the end result right there. So
yeah, he had great scouting with that Overlord, knew exactly what QXC was up to. He was able to power drones, like you were saying, up until the very last minute, spawned a ton of lings and got a nice surround. That was just great play, and looks like we're going to be going to the temple that is lost, as QXC has decided that's going to be his next map, and probably going to be seeing some drops there if Sin goes for any fast hatchery at his natural, as that's kind of the go-to build if that Zerg gets his expansion up.
Yeah, I mean, you're so right, JP, and also it will depend a lot on the positioning. So far on Lost Temple, Zerg's been very fortunate to actually get some decent positioning and not necessarily have that the ability to just quickly go over to that particular cliff. If they spawn on the bottom side, on the close by air positions, then it becomes much more difficult for the Terran to get his medevacs over there, to get the drops over there, without going way out of his way. So we are going to get Sen invited to the the game. Yeah, I almost added the wrong guy there. So just thinking about that last game. Again, we've seen some phenomenal, solid Zerg play here at MLG Dallas for the 2010 National Championships. Thanks for coming out and joining us here. The crowd continues to grow as, you know, typically, this would be the day of the finals, but we're going all 3 days here. The final and many of the upper bracket matches will be played tomorrow. There they are.
Make some noise. There's the beautiful crowd that we have, and that crowd actually is a lot larger than that. There are a ton of people sitting on the outskirts of that, so it looks like both players are ready, so let's go ahead and get started here. Game 2 between Sin and QXC. Sin up 1-0 over the Root Gaming member that is QXC.
And we've got Lost Temple as the map. Countdown about to begin.